Hi, this is Nick with thedigitalYardSale.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a grunge Polaroid just like this one. So let's get started. Alright, let's make a new layer by hitting Command or Control N, and I want my width to be 1250 and my height to be 1475. Choose OK. Now I want to select my rectangle tool, and I want to make sure that my shape layer select option is selected over here on the left. And I'm going to go to geometry options. I'm going to choose fixed size, and I'm going to change it to 1050 by 1275 pixels. Hit OK. And I want to click and hold, and I want to try to get this centered. Just kind of guesstimate there. Alright, now I'm going to double click this layer color over here. I'm going to change it to DCD7CA. Select OK. And now I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool, and at the top here I'm going to select subtract from shape area. It's a white box on top of a dark box. Click it. Now change the geometry settings again to fixed size at 950 by 950 pixels. Now I'm gonna click and hold again. Make sure I want the width to be equal from left to right as it is to the top. So, and then when I release, it's gonna subtract this area from our already created shape. Alright, let's rename this shape frame. It's gonna be just the general outline of our Polaroid here. Alright, I want to make a duplicate of this layer by hitting Command J, and I want to rasterize it. Right click, rasterize layer, and I want to go to filter, noise, add noise. I want it to be 1%, and I want it to be Gaussian distribution, and make sure monochromatic is unchecked. Click OK. Alright, it doesn't look like a lot, but it's going to help us down the line. Change this layer to noise. Alright, and I'm going to hold option, and you should see these two little circles between noise and frame. If you hold your mouse over that and then click, and that'll automatically turn this into a clipping mask. Alright, so now I'm going to open this texture that you'll be able to download this on the site. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to also do the same thing to it. I'm going to zoom out. I'm gonna hit Command T to transform, and I'm gonna hold Option and Shift and transform this. I want the width to be just a little bit wider than this. I'm gonna zoom back in, and since we have this on a clipping mask layer, we can move this around, and it's masked to that layer that we have down there. So I'm gonna put this bottom left corner of the texture in the bottom left corner of our frame, and that looks about right. So now I'm going to rename this texture, and I'm going to change it to multiply, Option Shift M, and I'm going to change it to 65%. Alright, now I want to click on my frame layer. I want to open my effects panel and go to Bevel and Emboss. I want to change the depth to 200, the size to 4 pixels, soften to 3 pixels, my highlight opacity to 60%, my shadow opacity to 35%. Click OK, and now you can see we've given this some dimension. If I turn this off and on, it's a big difference there. So now it's starting to look real. This is good. Alright, so I'm going to click on my background layer and create a new layer, and on this new layer I'm going to select my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to create a box, but I want it to be a little wider than that opening. Alright, now I'm going to hit Shift Delete and fill this with any color you choose. Really, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use this gray. Command D to deselect. This is going to be where our photo goes. Okay, so now we can get rid of this texture. Now I'm going to click on the frame layer. I'm going to hit T to get some text. I'm going to click. I'm just going to type out some numbers here. A few numbers and some spaces. let's actually move that layer above our noise layer. Okay. I'm gonna put the font size about 25. I have a font called Synchro, and it's just kind of like, it looks like it's been done on a dot matrix printer. If you've ever seen an old Polaroid, you know them. Some of them have these numbers down here. This is just totally aesthetic. You don't have to do this. But I'm gonna set it to a medium gray. I already have it set, and I'm gonna Option Shift M to multiply and change it to about 50%. Alright, first let's get a photo in here. This is just a photo I took. You can use any photo you want. Just click and drag it over. We're going to drag this layer above the photo layer. We're going to hold Option and make a clipping mask. Alright, now with that photo layer still selected, I can size this down if I want. It's going to always stay within that photo box. Alright, so now I'll be able to see the texture. Let's make a duplicate of this texture layer, and I'm going to hold Command or Control and mouse over this layer thumbnail for the photo layer. Click, it's going to select that, and I'm going to, with my texture layer still selected, I'm going to click Create Layer Mask down here, and it's automatically going to mask to that area. But we need to move this down here right above our photo. Let's call it Photo Texture. Okay, so now we're going to make the shadow. Let's click on the background layer, create a new layer, and I'm going to, holding Option again, I'm going to click the noise thumbnail. I'm going to hit M to get my rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to drag around this box to add it to the selection as well, because this is all I want selected, is the outside edge of this frame. Now I'm going to go to Select, Feather. I'm going to feather it 5 pixels. Okay. I'm going to hit Command Delete. I'm going to fill it with color, just a darker gray. Hit OK. Alright, hit Command D to deselect. Now I'm going to tap it right a little bit and down. Hit Command T to transform, right click, choose Warp, and I'm going to pull this right bottom square out a little, pull the bottom left square down a little, and the top right square down and right to the little. And that creates some nice little curves there. I'm going to hit Option Shift M to multiply, and let's put it at 80%. Now let's put it at 85. Alright, with that still selected, I'm going to choose this layer mask, create a layer mask, grab my brush tool, and I want just a regular circular brush, opacity about 10, flow 80 or 70 or whatever, and I want my hardness to be 0. I want a soft brush, and I'm just going to take some sweeping motions here just on the edges that come out the most in this shadow. I want to make it look like it fades a little as it goes out. I want it to be darker the closer we get. That's good enough. I'm going to right click this layer and apply a layer mask. Rename this layer Shadow. Alright, so let's create the vignette here. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to hold Command or Control, and I'm going to click over this photo thumbnail. I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Feather. I'm going to feather this. Let's do 100 pixels. Alright, that looks better. Alright, so now I'm going to hit Command Shift I to inverse the selection. I'm going to fill it with this same gray color that I used for my shadow. And I'm going to choose Command D to deselect, and I'm going to Option click between this vignette layer and my image layer. Going to multiply, Option Shift M. I'm going to set it at 20%. So now you can see just those edges are going to look a little darker. Let's name this Vignette. And that about does it. Thanks.